Hey everybody, it's Chris from the Droning Company. I'm here with Kristofer Skantze from XER Technologies. So, I mean, look at this thing. This caught my eye. We were walking through and I thought we got to stop and talk to these guys because this is amazing. I was talking a little bit with your CFO offline earlier and he was telling me a little bit about this drone, but I'd like to hear it from the CEO himself. Tell me about this thing. It is impressive. What's it capable of?
Yeah, we're super proud of it. It's a hybrid electric drone. We can fly for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So we have a 2-stroke engine, obviously generator, and allows us then to propel the electrical systems, the payload and all that, and we can take up to 3 kilos, so that's about 7 pounds of payload for 2.5 hours.
That's amazing. And you said it was hybrid when, in a conversation earlier, I heard about the flight time. 2.5 hours is maybe the best a quadcopter's ever done ever. Now I know it has actually it's an octocopter with the dual system, but for a platform like this, 2.5 hours is amazing. What is the fuel capacity on this and how does the hybrid system work?
Yeah, so we have about 6 kilo. Again, sorry, we're European, so it's a bit difficult. What is that? That's about 13 pounds, I'd say.
Yeah, that's about right.
Worth of fuel, so 2-stroke fuel. And yeah, so what was the other question you had?
Just how does the hybrid system work? I mean, how does it switch over? How does it make those determinations to run it simultaneously?
Right, so essentially, we have built our own control unit to handle it. So we have a buffer battery system on board, but essentially we adjust the RPM to our needs. So we do that in real time. So we actually don't draw a lot of energy from the batteries. So we have an overcapacity in battery on board the drone. But they're actually used for safety reasons. So if, for whatever reason, the engine were to fail, we can safely land the drone. We don't have too much time, but if you're not at several kilometers altitude, you can at least get down quickly and safely. So for that reason, it's good as a safety backup system. As you said, we have the contra-rotating motors. So if any one of these fails to work, we can continue flying. Of course, we tested that. We tested switching off the engine in air, continue flying on batteries, starting it again just to test it. So all of that is working well. We have an integrated parachute as well. So we have a full safety system, which is obviously very important because of the weight and because of the type of BVLOS missions we're intending to fly. So it's typically utility inspections, search and rescue missions, border control, public safety, those kind of missions. We're also looking at the demining activities.
Okay.
So we can carry, magnetometer or if that's what it's called.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And other type of multispectral analysis for detecting mines, IR and so on. Yeah. So we can add essentially any type of payload that we want. Given the space we have flown with the multiple cameras at the same time. Behind us we have Yellowscan, and we flew with them 2 weeks ago. Did a really good mission. We have, given that it's a 2-stroke engine, one of the things that could be an issue is vibration.
Sure.
But we have been able to handle that really well. So the feedback from them, Yellowscan that is, was that the vibration was very similar to a normal electric drone. Excellent. And that's something we're really proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So vibration is not an issue.
Yeah, and in a 2-stroke motor, in a 2-stroke motor, I mean, it's the fact that you got into the point that a company like Yellowscan, which is like built around precision LiDAR, and they tell you that it's no worse than any other drone that they've used, that's a testament for sure.
It is, and the ability, again, you could fly 2.5 hours. So basically, if you start from the beginning, the industry is moving towards BVLOS, but the drones are not there. You can have fixed-wing drones, but they have limitations. They're great for many applications, but we can hover, obviously, and continue flying and do that kind of inspection and line inspection, but the drones aren't really there, but everyone wants to do it.
Yeah.
That's one, but now we're here, and the rest of the industry already mature. All the sensors are there, the software, all of that. So the only challenge left is the regulatory side to get the approval. And obviously that's not a small challenge, but it's something you have to go through.
Absolutely. Now we talked about the flight time being 2.5 hours. We talk about some of the missions that you're able to carry out, inspections, mapping, etc. Let's talk about range. What kind of range does this have when you're dealing with BVLOS?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the telemetry that you integrate in it. So we flew a mission. Again, I have to think in kilometers and miles, but we flew a mission recently in the Arctic, and it was 50 kilometers, and that's about 35 miles probably.
Yeah, that's roughly.
Yeah, so flew out and back, and that was in minus 20 Celsius. So sorry for this European metrics.
It's cold.
Yeah, very cold, and fully automated flights, and so it all depends on the equipment we use. I mean, we can integrate Silvus, or we used for this DTC, so Domo Tactical, but we're completely agnostic to what we should use. So we could integrate SATCOM, we could integrate 4G, 5G if that's desired. So because we are the drone manufacturer, we listen to what the client wants, and we're very quick in integrating whatever we want to have. So currently we're using the Pixel architecture, and it allows us huge flexibility with the Mavlink protocol of that. So
excellent. Now, we talked a little bit, I want to talk about what we just talked about, but I want to get to one more question first. Hardiness, in terms of its weatherability, everything that comes into, like flying in the Arctic, for instance. Does this have a rating against weather? You know, what can it handle, what can't it handle?
Yeah, so when we flew in the Arctic again, we realized that we had a few issues with the temperature, so we went back and modified the drone, small things like heating the fuel, and this is quick. Actually, relatively quick thing, because we have extremely experienced people in the company that come from the manned aviation and unmanned aviation as well. So we came up with a solution for that. So now we can fly probably down to minus 30 or even less Celsius. So in terms of IP rating, we haven't tested that yet. But if you look at the drone, you see that it's basically designed. So let's take the other way around. Many of the drones in the hybrid world, they start with a battery-operated drone, then they integrate a hybrid system on top of that. Sure. We came from the opposite side, so we're kind of the Tesla. We start with electric, we make a decision, it's an electric car, in our case a hybrid electric drone, and we build a drone around that. So we've given a lot of thought about the design into that, and that's why we put everything is contained inside of this cover. So it's in that sense, it's waterproof. The things that we can improve because of cost, we haven't picked the ultimate high-end components when it comes to the motors, just for cost reasons, because we have to also cater to the reality of what people want to do. I think I don't know if we have an IP 45 rating or 44 or whatever it would be for the motors today, but we know suppliers we could get an IP 67 rating, I think, tomorrow if you wanted, if the customer wants it. So that's available. So aside from that, it's pretty much a waterproof drone. And if you can see the arms, we've integrated the cabling inside of the arms, so when you fold them, do it from the camera angle. So you don't see the cables, right? They're inside. And things like that are actually really important because of chafing, because of, we want to make sure this is a durable product, heavy duty, that you can go out and fly in really tough conditions. So the deployment time of this is 2 minutes. Okay. Basically, take it out of the car. As I showed you, just fold out the arms, fold out the propellers, and hit the start button, electronic start. And then you heat up the engines, takes 40 to 60 seconds, and then you can be airborne.
Wow, that's amazing. The fact that you can set this up in 2 minutes is incredible. I mean, something of this size and this capability is great. I do want to get back to something we talked about a little bit earlier, and that is your ability to work with your customers and design platforms and solutions with this drone for your customers. Tell us a little bit about that process. How does your team work with the customization needs of the clients that you serve?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because you can go down a rabbit hole of catering to every client's demands, and yeah, you can do that, but it doesn't scale very well. So initially you have to be humble as a startup company. Yeah, we've developed this for 4.5 years, but we just started selling this late last year. So we are effectively new, but we already have quite a few flight hours, so we feel very confident with this. But back to your question, our approach is we want to focus on certain verticals. So because we can't do everything, and we're a small team, so we're going to focus on utility inspection. That's why we partnered with Yellowscan and others to test their solutions and make sure we qualify and we work well with that, so we can integrate many sensors at the same time. But the benefit of selecting one vertical is that you have a focus as an organization. You can take the learning from one client to the next. So what we're doing is putting together a full package. We're not just selling a drone. Nobody cares about the drone. everyone cares about the data. Is it a gas sniffer? Is it whatever you're doing? Nobody cares about the drone. They just expect it to work.
Yes.
And that's where we realize that. So we're trying to put everything together. It needs to be simple to use, needs to be very reliable, user-friendly. And so we bring in software. So if we take utility inspection, we have mission planning software and analytical software, companies that we work with, that partner with, and put together a full package to give them a one-stop shop solution. The only thing we don't do ourselves is the actual flying, but we can educate, and we do educate people or pilots, and make sure we bring in the pilots on a need, drone service providers on if that's required.
Excellent. Now, somebody's watching this video, they're intrigued, they want to learn more. Where do they find more about XER Technologies?
Yeah, so XER-tech.com is our website, and we're also on social media, so make sure you subscribe and give us a like, and let us know if you're interested. We just came to the expo this year for the first time, just making our entry into the US, so we're looking for distributors, we're looking for partners, obviously clients, and anyone who's interested should just let us know.
Absolutely. Absolutely impressive technology. Make sure you check out XER Technologies. Kristofer, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.